Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 Origin Continent based on novel. So let's start. Each of Luo Feng's fingers was like a sharp blade, with the aura of life and death flowing around, incomparably sharp. After piercing through the chest-scale armor of the three-faced grey-winged beast, Luo Feng suddenly slashed downward, enlarging the wound swiftly as purple blood sprayed out. This scale armor is not ordinarily tough. Luo Feng felt great resistance while cutting with his secret treasure gloves, secretly feeling relieved that he had used the forbidden spell and Lai Yuan technique, causing the three-faced grey-winged beast to have no means of resistance, taking his full force hit and resulting in such a battle outcome. Having sustained such heavy injuries, the three-faced grey-winged beast was fully awake now. Ignoring the massive wound on its chest, the face on its front suddenly opened its mouth, casting a grey light beam enveloping Luo Feng. Go away. Luo Feng's body shrank, darting like a ray of light into the massive wound in the chest and belly of the three-faced grey-winged beast, entering its body, while the grey light beam just barely grazed past Luo Feng's back. This graze caused part of the robe and skin on his back to vanish, but in a blink of an eye, it had already recovered. That grey light beam is quite powerful. The moment he entered the body of the three-faced grey-winged beast, Luo Feng felt the surrounding flesh squeezing in heavily. The purple blood also emitted a grey luster, with a strong corrosive effect, beginning to corrode the white robe covering Luo Feng's body. This was the heavenly light avatar, and the white robe also began to show numerous injuries, but rapidly recovered again. Where's the life core? Luo Feng's claws tore through more flesh and bone, burrowing deeper into the three-faced grey-winged beast. Oh! The three-faced grey-winged beast felt the cultivator moving and wreaking havoc inside its body, in considerable pain. From a distance inside the black flying boat, Emperor Qing closely observed the battle. Brother Luo Feng's strength. Emperor Qing was somewhat amazed. Everyone knew that even the physical body of a low-level primordial life, at the early stages of Divine Emperor, was very strong. But Luo Feng was fighting head-on, and even gaining the upper hand. In a single encounter, he tore open the chest and belly of the three-faced grey-winged beast, even burrowing inside. Truly ferocious. Emperor Qing looked on with joy. Those who were good at close combat, the more ferocious the better. However, low-level primordial life is not so easy to kill. With his rich experience, Emperor Qing knew the troublesome nature of the three-faced grey-winged beast. The hunting team of Yulon City generally required the strength of early-stage Divine Emperor enlightened walkers to join, and a team would have 3 to 5 members cooperating one-on-one to kill a low-level primordial life. Extremely difficult. Emperor Qing dared to venture out with Luo Feng, because he was strong enough himself, having 1 foot already stepping into the middle stage of Divine Emperor. As Luo Feng resisted the corrosion of the blood while searching for the life core inside the three-faced grey-winged beast, suddenly, the three-faced grey-winged beast, with a cold gaze, silently transformed into a vast expanse of grey mist. From a flesh form to a gaseous form. In terms of defense and explosive power, it became weaker. But its ability to preserve life, escape, and stealth attack greatly increased. At this moment, Luo Feng was surrounded by endless grey mist, which was even more corrosive than the blood. The white robe on Luo Feng's body began to tear, yet its life force was incredibly strong, continuously healing. Puff! 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 Within the mist, sharp claws struck, hitting Luo Feng's chest, back, and legs in a series of attacks, even tearing through the white robe. But for the world avatar, having 300 times its energy reserve and tough flesh, these were mere superficial wounds to Luo Feng. Minor scratches healed in the blink of an eye. This cultivator, even more troublesome in the flesh than me. The vast grey mist was shocked. Its claws, after tearing through the white robe and thick skin, at most barely wounded a bit of flesh. With the healing abilities of the world avatar, he recovered in a blink. Low-level primordial life was said to have strong physical bodies, and extremely strong life force. But at this moment it felt that the cultivator in front of it, in terms of the strength of physical body and life force, was even stronger than itself. Its moves were more mysterious. And he wielded powerful secret treasures. How to fight? Escape. Not wanting to entangle any further, the vast grey mist flew away towards the distance. Want to escape? Witness my forbidden spell, Palm World. Luo Feng thought. The heaven and earth avatar, merging with the surrounding vast world domain, now cast the forbidden spell, created by Luo Feng based on the heaven and earth avatar's innate talent and rooted in the great Tao of life and death, mimicking the innate secret treasure Palm World. This forbidden spell, composed of 8 ultimate realm secret techniques of the life and death Tao, was most suitable for the heaven and earth avatar. Boom rumble tilde tilde tilde. A vastly enormous illusory palm appeared, within which there was a world, and within that world was the grey mist. Suppressed by the palm world, the escaping speed of the endless grey mist became very slow. The endless grey mist sensed something bad and immediately split into 9 parts, with 9 strands of mist frantically escaping in all directions. Forbidden spell, Time Walker. The Time Avatar, striking from the past, present, and future simultaneously, instantly obliterated 1 strand of mist. Although the grey mist, when split into 9 parts, was more conducive to escape, the combat strength of each individual mist in a direct confrontation was greatly reduced, no match for the life and death Tao forbidden spell cast by Luo Feng's Time Avatar.
Puff. 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 As if they were being broken one by one, yet as if attacked all at once. 9 grey mists, with 7 having been assaulted by the Time Avatar, and as the 7th mist dissipated, a spinning meatball emerged. Life Core. Luo Feng's eyes lit up, he had finally found it. This life core was hidden within the 7th mist and was indeed the true core of the low-level primordial life. The forbidden power of Luo Feng's Time Avatar sufficed to affect this life core, but not to break it open. Vanish. With the help of the Palm World, the towering world avatar took a step forward and caught up with the meatball life core. Luo Feng's right hand moved like lightning, with each of his 5 fingers acting like blades. With the secret treasure gloves, no need to use any forbidden spells, simply the intrinsic secrets within the gloves exceeded the power of forbidden spells. That's the advantage of treasures, greatly enhancing a cultivator's strength. No, the fleeing meatball emitted a shrill cry. Tear! Luo Feng's 5 blade-like fingers flashed past, grazing the meatball and leaving 3 gash wounds. At that moment, the grey mist that had been escaping stopped moving, naturally merging back together and transformed into the massive, scar-covered corpse of a 3-faced grey-winged beast, crashing to the ground and causing a slight tremor. Luo Feng let out a breath and smiled. At last, I've killed this low-level primordial life. Luo Feng landed and gazed at the colossal 3-faced grey-winged beast's corpse, feeling it had not been easy. He had truly given it his all. He had launched with the spell and Lai Yuan technique, otherwise the fight would have been much more troublesome. The complete life and death Tao, the forbidden spells specially created according to the causality avatar, time avatar, and heaven and earth avatar had all been used. And the power of the secret treasure gloves helped eliminate this weakest of low-level primordial lives. Early-stage divine emperor of low-level primordial life, the weakest kind. It took all I had. Luo Feng thought to himself. At this time, the black flying boat appeared nearby, and Emperor Qing walked out from the side, looking incredulously at Luo Feng. Brother Luo Feng, you just faced and completely suppressed this low-level primordial life head-on. Emperor Qing exclaimed in amazement. If the beginning could be considered a stealth attack. But as the battle went on, the 3-faced grey-winged beast turned into mist and attacked Luo Feng's physical body, which the world avatar of Luo Feng easily withstood, showing a clearer advantage in physical strength. Moreover, you killed it one-on-one. Emperor Qing couldn't help but say, among the early-stage Divine Emperor Enlightened, there are very few who can kill a low-level primordial life one-on-one. Your strength, among early-stage Divine Emperor Enlightened, can be considered top-notch. Emperor Qing sighed. He had originally thought Luo Feng's strength was that of a normal early-stage Divine Emperor Enlightened, especially without treasures like the nine-layered tower, possibly showing weaker strength. But with the strength Luo Feng displayed this time, Emperor Qing was very pleased, much stronger than he had anticipated. Together, the two of them could deal with more dangerous situations, and the results of the hunt could be better. Low-level primordial lives have different innate abilities, and I just happen to counter the three-faced grey-winged beast. If I meet other low-level primordial lives, I might just have to stare blankly. Luo Feng said with a smile. That's why we need to team up. Emperor Qing laughed. All right, let's quickly collect this prey. It's your first low-level primordial life. Luo Feng nodded, looking at the massive corpse in front of him, his first ever kill of a low-level primordial life. Phew. Luo Feng waved his hand and collected it. This low-level primordial life was hunted by you alone, so it belongs to you. Emperor Qing said. Luo Feng shook his head. There's no need for that. Since we teamed up together, we follow what was previously agreed upon, splitting the spoils half and half. Emperor Qing had said they would split them half and half, partly to aid Luo Feng. After all, having been in Yulon City for a long time, Emperor Qing was much wealthier than Luo Feng and wouldn't miss the little bit. But at this moment, Emperor Qing also realized, splitting half and half. It could no longer be considered an advantage for Luo Feng. Although with the sword array, he was above Luo Feng in terms of burst strength. But a cultivator with such a powerful physical body, capable of close combat with low-level primordial life, was most welcomed by the various hunting teams in Yulon City. Especially since the powerhouses from myriads of worlds did not have the clone technique, and those willing to fight in close combat were even rarer. Ha ha ha, agreed. Emperor Qing did not argue. He was well aware that forming a team, a single low-level primordial life was nothing. By the way, brother Emperor Qing, how much is this low-level primordial life worth? Luo Feng inquired. This is an early-stage Divine Emperor level, low-level primordial life. Based on my experience, it's worth about 800,000 primordial crystals. Emperor Qing said. Luo Feng nodded. S-tilde-ear the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If it were a middle-stage Divine Emperor level low-level primordial life, the price would be much higher, but such a level primordial life, even if Luo Feng and Emperor Qing joined hands, might manage to suppress it a bit. But to kill it? There's a very slim possibility. Let's continue hunting. Emperor Qing was now boiling with a fighting spirit and looked forward to the reward of their first hunt together. A vast expanse of heaven and earth had already twisted, evolving into a new world within. Within this new world, where birds chirped and flowers fragranced, there lurked a massive creature forged like ice, stunningly captivating under the illumination of light. This colossal ice creature exhaled endless mist, filling half of the 3,000 worlds, yet not a single cultivator came into contact with it. It was the low-level primordial life, Frost Nightmare Messenger. Where are the cultivators? Where? The Frost Nightmare Messenger was quite agitated. It excelled in ice and a few soul-related methods, but this time, the cultivators had kept their distance, shrouding it with a terrifying formation. 3,000 worlds, deadly mechanisms of heaven and earth. Sir, the novel-ire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. A cold voice echoed. Within this world, billions of sword lights appeared instantly. The countless sword lights interlocked like gears, making the entire formation cooperate with profound mystery, and its power surged dramatically, to the point where the low-level primordial life, Frost Nightmare Messenger, fell into despair.
No, the Frost Nightmare Messenger watched in despair as a flood of sword lights engulfed it, eventually tearing open its body and cleaving through its core. Before absolute power, it had no way out. Its shattered corpse fell to the ground. It was only then that Emperor Qing appeared, waving his hand to collect the massive corpse. Although the sword lights had sliced up the body, the actual loss was minuscule, and it could still fetch a high price. Impressive, Luo Feng also appeared nearby, praising, "Brother Emperor Qing, you are much more crisp and decisive than me. And this 3,000 kill array is also much more profound than when we sparred before." Emperor Qing had also deployed the 3,000 kill array when they sparred in the land of origin, but back then it was not as profound. "I brought a secret treasure array map, which I purchased for 5 million primordial crystals. It is a half-primordial level formation diagram," Emperor Qing smiled. "With this array map, the 3,000 kill array can be even stronger. This frost nightmare messenger was just something I happened to restrain." Luo Feng nodded. After all, Emperor Qing was an enlightened, who had almost reached the middle stage of Divine Emperor, with deeper realm accumulation and a fitting formation diagram. His explosive power was indeed above his own. Boom! Massive thunder twinkled wildly, roaming all over. Luo Feng's world avatar struggled to entangle, but this time the terrifying, massive thunder did not engage him in combat, instead it focused on escaping. It tore through the edge of the 3,000 worlds and vanished in a flash. "It was my mistake," appeared Emperor Qing nearby, shaking his head. "Brother Luo Feng, even with your secret technique, you forced this thunder weasel to reveal its true body. I couldn't kill it in one strike, and as soon as it regained consciousness, it fled immediately. We've done our best." Luo Feng had also gained insight. Forbidden spells and the Lai Yuan technique were simultaneously deployed, managing to blast the thunder, which was hidden in the clouds, revealing its original form as a seemingly small beast-like thunder weasel. But the thunder weasel had very strong survival abilities. Even if slightly dazed and confused, it was able to resist a full-force attack from Emperor Qing's formation, shedding 90% of its power and forcibly escaping the 3,000 worlds formation. It's a pity. Although this thunder weasel is also an early stage of Divine Emperor, low-level primordial life, the profundity of thunder it contains is quite extraordinary, valued at around 3 million primordial crystals. But it's too difficult to kill. Emperor Qing was also rather helpless. Luo Feng nodded. Low-level primordial life, after all, are born free from the braided cage, possessing many special talents. Some with extremely special talents could even sneak into a city like Yulon City, which is under the protection of many elders and hall masters. Therefore, occasionally in Yulon City, cultivators are ambushed and killed by low-level primordial life. But such covert attacks by low-level primordial life are not too reckless, because attacks within the city may at any moment provoke a group of elders to strike back. Luo Feng and Emperor Qing hunted together, and their cooperation got better and better. Luo Feng's causality avatar deployed the heavenly extinguishing curse technique in combination with the Lai Yuan technique, to great effect, generally able to daze Divine Emperor early-stage low-level primordial lives, giving them a very short window to launch a killing move. Luo Feng engaged in close combat entanglement, with Emperor Qing's 3,000 kill array encircling. The 3,000 kill array was more than 10 times stronger than Luo Feng's heaven and earth avatar combined with world projection. One after another, Divine Emperor early stage, low-level primordial lives were hunted down by the two of them. Sigh. The black flying boat was flying stealthily. Luo Feng's biomimetic eye of destruction opened between his eyebrows, carefully observing the surroundings. Emperor Qing was also employing his detection technique, each with their own strengths in different secret detection methods. Not far from the black flying boat was a colossal creature integrated into the void. This behemoth, as if part of the void itself, had tens of thousands of long limbs. With the tens of thousands of limbs working like a loom, the void was being woven, turning the vast expanse into a web it had woven. The black flying boat of Luo Feng and company had already flown into the web. At this moment, Luo Feng and Emperor Qing were still completely unaware, and were carefully scouting the surroundings. Buzz. The void weaves, layer upon layer of netting enveloped over. Something's not right, Emperor Qing suddenly frowned. What's wrong? Luo Feng was still completely unaware, as his spatial perception was far inferior to Emperor Qing's. Let's leave, quickly. Although Emperor Qing could not be certain, he vaguely sensed a great terror in the void. Whoosh! He immediately steered the black flying boat, reaching its limit in burst speed. As the black flying boat abruptly darted forward, layers upon layers of void webbing throughout the world finally fully emerged, encompassing the black flying boat. It's a void weaver. Emperor Qing and Luo Feng both recognized it and saw the emerging void weaver, its massive size, and terrible aura, which allowed them to estimate its probable strength. Late-stage Divine Emperor Void Weaver. Run! Luo Feng and his companion didn't hesitate for a moment. Faced with such a void weaver, even mid-stage divine emperors who are the enlightened would flee without hesitation, and the two of them harbored no thoughts of fighting. Emperor Qing stowed away the black flying boat, as it seemed useless at this moment. Luo Feng's time avatar then took Emperor Qing into the future timeline. Whoosh! In the future timeline, the time avatar carried Emperor Qing as they fled for their lives. Luo Feng and Emperor Qing had long discussed various strategies for escape. Since Luo Feng was carrying less valuable treasures, and his robust perfect divine body excelled in close combat, it was natural for Luo Feng to cover the rear and ensure Emperor Qing's safety. After all, the combined value of the secret treasure array map, black flying boat, and life-saving items that Emperor Qing carried was over 10 million primordial crystals. Moreover, their spoils of war this time, which included 6 corpses of low-level primordial life, were also temporarily in Emperor Qing's possession. While escaping in the future timeline, the time avatar and Emperor Qing noticed streams of void silk threads infiltrating the future timeline, enveloping them. Does this void weaver not only control the void, but also have such a profound impact on time? Luo Feng was helpless. His time avatar's talent as an ultimate realm power primordial bloodline creature allowed him to traverse past, present, and future all at once. Those who reached the second realm of Godly King on the path of time would possess similar methods. For those unfamiliar with the Tao of Time, Luo Feng's ability to escape was formidable. However, even low-level primordial life beings eventually break out of the braided cage. As their strength increases, they naturally wield influence over various aspects, such as time and causality. Heavenly Extinguishing Curse Technique. Lai Yuan Technique. The Heavenly Extinguishing Curse Technique, a forbidden move from the Life and Death Tao, executed with the causality avatar, also affected the Void Weaver. Before mastering the complete Great Tao, Luo Feng's spiritual will had already reached the level of Divine Emperor, and even surpassed the limits of Land of Origin during his extensive cultivation in the Dream Domain. Later, he successively mastered the 3 Taos of life, destruction, and life and death. His spiritual will rose time after time, unknowingly reaching the late stages of Divine Emperor. This was the harvest brought by enlightenment. Of course, for Divine Emperors, as their realms accumulate depth, their spiritual will gradually reaches a limit. To break through again, the spiritual will must break out of the braided cage, attaining a level comparable to high-level primordial life. This breakthrough of the spirit was more difficult than any other previous bottleneck. Saw the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Thus, even beyond the source world, among the countless worlds where the strong converge, those whose spiritual will reach is the level of high-level primordial life are still extremely rare. Boom. The Heavenly Extinguishing Curse technique accounted for 30% of the power, while the Lai Yuan technique accounted for the remaining 70%. It managed to slightly delay the pursuit of the Void Weaver. Whoosh! This delay allowed Luo Feng's time avatar, carrying Emperor Qing, to quickly flee in the future timeline, getting out of range of the Void Weaver's pursuit. After all, the Void Weaver's influence over time wasn't too strong. Next, I must find a way to escape. Emperor Qing escaped. Luo Feng, watching the towering and massive Void Weaver, let out a roar. His world avatar split into three, each world avatar with 100-fold energy reserve and sufficient strength, headed in different directions to attack. World projection. Heaven and Earth unite. Heaven and Earth escape. Kill. The three imposing world avatars charged fearlessly towards the Void Weaver. Inside the black flying boat. How did it go? Emperor Qing looked at Luo Feng. The Void Weaver was too formidable. Luo Feng gently shook his head. Only the Heaven and Earth avatar managed to escape amidst the chaos. It was only due to the frantic combat by the Causality Avatar, World Avatar, and Heavenly Light Avatar that the Heaven and Earth Avatar had a chance to escape. The Heaven and Earth Avatar had a broad enough cover range that once it used the Heaven and Earth escape, it could flee extremely quickly. The Heaven and Earth Avatar managed to escape with Luo Feng's only pair of secret treasure gloves. We've lost a lot of energy reserves. Luo Feng felt a pang of distress. Such an energy reserve would take centuries to accumulate in the land of origin. In Yulon City, although the energy here was more potent, without the aid of a small universe, the current rate of energy absorption was even slower. Perhaps with a higher realm, the rate of absorption could increase. You covered our retreat, allowing me to escape, Emperor Qing said with a smile, and I didn't even have to use my life-saving treasures. In the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, the powerful beings generally greatly treasure their life-saving items. Especially those powerful beings from billions of worlds, those without avatars spare no expense on such items. These life-saving items could even offer a chance of escape in the presence of a half-primordial level existence. Of course, life-saving items are costly, with the cheapest being several 100,000 primordial crystals, and the sky's the limit for the more expensive ones. Some innate secret treasures and life-saving treasures exchanged from the infinite space treasure vault have extremely high values. Your loss of so many avatars and such a vast amount of energy reserves shall be counted as 500,000 primordial crystals, said Emperor Qing. For our gains, the 6 corpses of the primordial life we've obtained are valued at about 6.5 million primordial crystals. This time, it's estimated that your share is 3.5 million, and mine is 3 million, Emperor Qing said. Okay, Luo Feng nodded. They had set some rules before forming a team. The spoils of war were to be divided equally. In case of a crisis, to save the spoils of war and escape, the one who suffered the greatest loss would be compensated first with the shared spoils of war. Losing hundreds of times the perfect divine body energy reserve was a small matter to Luo Feng. It could be recovered after a few centuries of cultivation. If Emperor Qing used a life-saving treasure, that would cost 2 million primordial crystals. Of course, Emperor Qing only had that one life-saving treasure. He was ultimately a being from the source world, with cloning techniques, and thus he was unwilling to spend too much on life-saving items. Our gains are good. It's time to head back, Emperor Qing said. The more creatures we hunt, the more likely accidents will happen. Although the majority were lower-level primordial life at the early stage of Divine Emperor, the more they hunted, the higher the chance of encountering stronger ones. This time, it was just a late-stage Divine Emperor Void Weaver, but what if they encountered a perfect-level Divine Emperor? With Emperor Qing's life-saving treasure valued at only 2 million primordial crystals, whether he could escape was another matter. It's indeed time to head back, Luo Feng nodded. His own avatars were greatly depleted, and his strength had significantly decreased. It was time to return to Yulon City. Of course, he still had considerable energy reserves for his avatars within Yulon City. With over 3 million primordial crystals, this time I'll have to carefully study the exchange options in the infinite space treasure vault, Luo Feng thought to himself. He controlled the great Tao of life and death, and so he naturally could receive higher rewards in infinite space. The black flying boat cautiously made its way back. The closer they got to Yulon City on their return, the more likely it was to encounter cultivators looking to plunder. Emperor Qing was very experienced and steered the black flying boat in a big detour. Coupled with Luo Feng's scanning with the biomimetic eye of destruction, they finally managed to narrowly avoid plundering and successfully returned to Yulon City. We're back. When the black flying boat flew through the city gates, Luo Feng and Emperor Qing finally breathed a sigh of relief. This video will end here.